Dear friends, in this video, we will discuss the recent statement made by Antony Blinken, the Secretary of State of the United States, regarding China, where he stated that his country does not support the independence of Taiwan. Does this mean that Washington has abandoned the small island to its fate? Taiwan takes care of all steps of the trademark registration process, from preliminary search to monitoring at INPI, with over 700 clients in the last year. It is recognized for its service and efficiency. On Monday, June 19, the Secretary of State of the United States, Antony Blinken, during a visit to China, stated that the United States does not support the independence of Taiwan, a small island that China considers a rebel, and various top members of the Chinese Communist Party in the Chinese Armed Forces have made it clear on several occasions that the island will be annexed by China, even if it requires the use of military force. This statement by Blinken, following so many declarations of support from President Biden, who even stated that he would send American soldiers to Taiwan in case of a Chinese invasion, does it mean that Washington has abandoned the island to its own devices and that China, upon hearing that statement, will feel safer and more confident to attack, invade, and annex Taiwan? In order to understand those statements and the impact they may have on Taiwan, we have to go back to 1979, the year in which the United States, under President Jimmy Carter, stopped recognizing Taiwan diplomatically and started recognizing only the mainland China of Deng Xiaoping. In addition to losing diplomatic recognition, Taiwan also lost all the military bases that the United States had maintained on the island. This was the result of Jimmy Carter's strategy to deepen the political and ideological rift between China and the Soviet Union, a rift that had begun in the 1960s and was reaching its peak in the late 1970s with the diplomatic recognition of mainland China and the United States' adherence to the policy of One China, which asserts that Chinese territory is indivisible, including Taiwan. Carter intended to convert Beijing into a strategic partner, further isolating the Soviet Union. However, at the same time, he passed a law requiring the United States to provide Taiwan with all the financial, material, and military means necessary for the island to guarantee its independence and sovereignty. This gave rise to an American political, diplomatic, military, and commercial approach known as strategic ambiguity. In other words, while the United States diplomatically recognizes China and affirms that Chinese territory cannot be divided, including Taiwan, they also provide Taiwan with weapons, money, supplies, and ammunition so that its inhabitants have the necessary means to defend themselves in case China tries to retake the island by force. As you can imagine, strategic ambiguity deeply irritates China, as it hinders its plan to annex Taiwan. But does Blinken's statement on June 19 mean that this strategy is over and that the United States no longer supports Taiwan? When we analyze the second part of Blinken's statement, we see that it is not the case. On June 19, right after stating that the United States does not support the independence of Taiwan, reinforcing a policy that has been in place since 1979, Blinken also said that the United States will not accept what he called a unilateral change to the status quo by either side. In other words, that statement by Blinken did not represent the end of U.S. support for Taiwan. It only served to reinforce the strategic ambiguity that so irritates and bothers the Chinese. In fact, Chinese newspapers, as we know, which are controlled by the Chinese Communist Party, expressed discomfort and even dissatisfaction with Blinken's statement, as it reaffirms the old policy followed by the United States, where Washington diplomatically recognizes Beijing and adheres to the policy of One China, but at the same time does everything to prevent any alteration of the status quo. In other words, they will continue to send weapons, equipment, and financial support to Taiwan, as they have done for the past 4.5 decades. Note, the text provided appears to be a transcript or summary of a video discussing the recent statement made by Antony Blinken regarding Taiwan.